hello, and welcome to La Vida Edtech, the platform designed to discuss innovative trends, topics impacting today's educational climate through the lens of the global majority. I am your host, Dr. Latasha Castellolala, and I am overjoyed to have you join us today. Got to give a quick shout out to my co-host, Mr. Marcos Navis. How are you, sir?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vida Tech podcast in the metaverse. Super excited to be here. We have an amazing guest today, and really excited to jump in and talk all about the metaverse, Urbander, and Vida Tech.
So, we are super excited to introduce and talk a little bit about how we got started, where this process happened, and how the beautiful synergy of all of these intellect together for the good of creating this platform to talk more. I cannot wait to talk with our guest today, Miss Sami. I'm going to let her introduce herself. She is a pioneer, an entrepreneur, a business owner, a powerhouse, and a Latina who's on a mission to connect. Sammy, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Dr. Lala. Hi, Navas. It's so great to see you both here. And it's to kick off Vida Edtech and work and collaborate very closely with you on creating these new spaces, right? To introduce what can be done in 3D worlds. And I'm delighted to be here with you. And let's get this show going.
We got to talk about how we got started, right? Because it's always good to share the journey of how we started from the bottom. Now we're here. Let's start out with just talking a little about how we came together, how this synergy kind of started to occur.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we go to the beginning of just the journey of entrepreneurship and being on survival mode and trying to figure out how to tap into the skills I had as a corporate executive, right? Transitioning into the business world, just fell into marketing. And in that journey, just grew as a communicator, as a storyteller, and in that, about 2 years ago, I created a video series called Only in September, just to talk about how the Latino segment is oftentimes overlooked throughout the rest of the year. And then Hispanic Heritage Month kicks in, right? And all of a sudden,
Everyone
it's
wants to
like,
be Spanish.
exactly. And it's like, bring out the maracas. Where's the fiesta? Why you have,
So true. So true.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so I was just over it. And so I did this 12-part series. And one of the videos I did was about how Latinos are so grossly underrepresented in STEM professions and the Black community too, right? Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
this is not something that is, how do you say, just one particular group that
Hmm.
has been historically excluded from these spaces suffers, right? And so, in that, it turns out that Navas's cousin and I know each other, and she's like, "Yo, I need to introduce you to my cousin because he
Mhm.
works in tech." And he's one of these 8%ers, right? 8% of people in
That's
Mm.
tech
Vida
that
Tech.
identify as Latino. And that was it. Navas and I met for an hour, and I was in total awe of how these Web 3.0 resources can serve as a tool
Hmm.
to communicate and storytell like we're doing today. Isn't this
Yep.
exciting? And so that's it. That was the beginning of what we're doing now. This is how we landed here, right? Except
Yeah.
for Navas then, had already met you, and it was just a perfect match, right? Because the work that
Yeah.
you do in education is so valuable.
And
And you know
it's
what's
so
wild?
crazy.
Yeah, it is really crazy because even the way me and Lala came together, it
Yeah.
was literally LinkedIn. It was a LinkedIn,
It
convo
was.
that turned into a Zoom, that turned into, listen, I
Yep.
have this idea. This is what I'm looking to do.
Hmm.
She was all in. And at that same time, very shortly after that, me and Sammy already kicked the breeze, and we made a connection and established a relationship. And I, spent some time showing and explaining Web 3.0, AI, explaining the metaverse and some other techs and the impact that it's doing in our society, and more importantly, how it can help enhance business. It can enhance small business as well. So I still remember, like yesterday, Sammy jumped into a space and was like, "Well, how do I get my own? And how do we customize it? How do we make it special?" And that was it. Like we went at it. Like we literally put our heads down and started just right to work and building out all of what you see here today.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
it's
I think that I'm sorry, and I think that expertise, right, from the business lens that
Hmm.
I brought
mm,
in marketing, and then Navas brought in the technical and education aspect, and then you, Lala, come on, right?
listen, it
Yeah.
was crazy. It was wild, and I have to tell you, just to talk about how you're in the space. I was looking for a really innovative technology program for my nephew,
Mm,
and I saw Latinos in coding. And
mm,
I was like, wow, and Latinos in tech. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to talk to this person because they're in a certain community and he's not too far away. And let me see if
Hmm.
they have programs. And it started out with a inquiry about what do you do? And
Hmm.
then before you know it, we know multiple people, a couple of degrees of separation. And then
Hmm.
before you know it, now we're talking about sharing this out and the synergy of really showing and elevating brown and black voices in education, in technology, and really educating our greater community about the possibilities. And it's just exciting to be in the space with both of y'all.
That's Vida
yeah.
Edtech.
Tell us a little bit, Lala, about your research, because I think that that really grounds a lot of what we're doing, because we're
Hmm.
talking so much about the future and about tech, but you talk about heritage and culture and ancestry, and at the end of the day, that's what really grounds us. So can you tell us a little bit about, the
Sure.
value and the amazing research that you conducted?
Well, thank you. Yes, it's funny. I don't talk about research all the time because it's a thing, but I think the piece that I wanted to look at was examining pre-service teachers, and I really wanted to understand how are institutions diversifying and meeting the needs of those folks, regardless of where they come from. Many of our students are coming from all different types of backgrounds, rural, urban, and suburban, and some people are really strong in some areas and not so strong in other areas. And so my research was really focused on how are we supporting those folks to cross the finish line to become the next teachers and role models for our students. And my research basically showed that there's really not much differentiation that's there. And as a result, we are still seeing that our educational system really doesn't have much diversity. At this point, we have about 93% of our teachers who identify as white. So
Mhm.
that means that our students, regardless of their ethnicity, their thought, anything that's coming to the play, they do not have people who look like them in the space. And that's really important when we're thinking about the stories that we're telling, the voices that we're elevating, the perspectives that are being shared and discussed, and really understanding and identifying that journey for many of us who are brown and black who have come through a system, and some of the things that we face. So a lot of my work today as an arts educator, working is to make sure that arts education is more diverse and making sure that we're telling a variety of stories so that the experience that students have in school reflects the experience that they have out of school, the way
Amen.
that they're able to integrate and connect, and see the world from this global perspective so that the schools don't look like it's still homogeneous, and teaching students how to access their god-given talents, their cultural references, and not keep it separate but connect it to the learning so that we can really show people how we can integrate, how we can connect, and how we're really a lot more alike than we are
That's
different.
Vida Edtech. How
Beautiful.
amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. You can
And
hear the passion. Amazing.
yeah, it's crazy awesome. And the thing
Hmm.
is, talking about representation, this is why we wanted to pioneer in this space, in this 3D metaverse
Yes.
space, because again, we want to make sure that we don't become the global majority and are holding the short end of the stick. We want to make sure that we're not only sitting at the table, but creating these new tables, right? And
Hmm.
so here we are. I'm just so tickled pink that we're here and that we're about to give a tour of the custom space
Yes.
that we
Yes.
built,
Yep.
that Urbander built. We have a team of 3D architects that we've assembled, and we want to give a shout out to Little Horse and
Hmm.
our friends over there,
Yes.
headed and led by Allison Gonzalez, because we were able to bring together a team of amazing and talented people with a very diverse skill set and multidisciplinary expertise to not only be able to um, offer these kinds of spaces and build them for them, but do them in a customized way, right? And that way, we're demonstrating that we have the ability, we have the resources, we have the capabilities, and we are pretty much demanding access to, right? And
Yep.
so I don't know. I think the king of the tour, because we just did one earlier today,
Come
is
on.
Navas. Come on.
Yes.
And so uh Navas, if you lead,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
will follow. We will follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But before we even go on that tour, real quick, let's just talk 1 second. We keep using this word metaverse. So, as you can
Mm.
Yes.
see, the environment we are in is a 3D immersive environment space. And we just want to talk a little bit about how we got here. First and foremost, Web 3.0 is really why this is possible. The idea that the internet's stronger, faster. We are in the metaverse, but none of us have a VR headset on. None of us have any extra equipment. This is all web based, and that's what really makes this beautiful. Cell phone, iPad, tablet, laptop, computer, whatever you have, as long as it has a web browser, we can access the space, come in, collaborate differently. We have all the same tools that you would find on Zoom and any other platform, and then some. We can customize these spaces, and that's exactly what we did with this Urbander campus. So when I first brought Sami in, I brought her into one of my templated worlds, and her first thing was, listen, how do we make a custom world? I want something special. I want something branded. And as you look around and we take this tour, you will notice and you will feel the Urbander brand everywhere. And that is the beauty of this, the idea that it is completely customizable. So, that being said, obviously, right now, what you are seeing is we are in the Urbander studio. So, one of the special things that Sami wanted was a space for us to do this type of work. So, we built a studio built into this campus. And big shout out to Urbander, which is the major sponsor of the show, Hands on Coding, Latinos in Coding. They all put this together. We all sponsored this and made this show happen. And hence why we have Sami as our first guest, because she is the queen of the throne when it comes to the Urbander side of things and what we are trying to do with this tech. So, that being said, this is the studio, but why don't we take a walk? Why don't we leave the studio here and let's take a little stroll, and we can go over to the offices, and let's show off what the Urbander offices are. And we'll explain this as we're walking. So, again, one of the things Sami wanted was office space. And when we talk about office space in the metaverse, again, it's an actual building, it's actual offices. But the amazing thing is all the tools that we can bring in here. So, and I love this building just because of the glass that it has on the outside. The views from the second floor of this building, of the entire campus, is probably the best view in this space when it comes to aerial views. But on the second floor of this building are the actual office spaces, and all our team members have a space here. We then In the middle here, we have our conference. We even have a whiteboard, so we can come into this whiteboard space and actually collaborate and brainstorm live in the metaverse. I can download the notes, we can share the notes. So this is a very, very big deal as far as the tools and what we can do in the space. Also, real quick, you notice the blue box on the bottom, and this is very important when it comes to privacy. So again, conversations, if you want to have a private conversation in the metaverse, we're all in open space. However, we have these voice boxes, and Sammy just went into it. So what this allows us to do is to have personal conversations, private conversations. So if any avatar walks into that blue box, you hear a ping, and it's a private conversation. You can only hear if you're in that box. So again,
Yeah,
some
I
of the
keep
tools
walking
available.
into the box.
Yep.
And I keep on, every time I walk.
Out of the box. But that is such an amazing feature because I think one of the things that people are very uncomfortable about when we talk about introducing new technologies is the privacy aspects of it and
Yeah.
who can hear me and what can be recorded. And I'm really glad that you really emphasize that there's that feature that's available that's really accessible that makes you feel like you're in like a real office.
And even the idea of this, again, there's a lot of different metaverses out there. We now open metaverses, which is like literally a world that's running 24/7. Anyone can walk in, no holds barred. But when it comes to business, when it comes to education, privacy is so important. Safety so important. So with this platform, it is sort of a controlled metaverse. So as the admin, I have all the tools at my disposal, turning on mics, turning off cameras, turning off all features of anyone who's here. So we have
So you're like God. So basically, you're like God in a way.
absolutely in these worlds we can play God. We can definitely play God. Um, so and again, the so many tools in this space on this platform, and it's just getting better and better and better. Shout out to Gabe over at Frame and the amazing team they got going because they keep enhancing the platform, they keep making it better. I think they recently just did a test of I think about 1,100 avatars in one space.
Mhm.
So again, we're definitely going to be doing some amazing things in these spaces. I know right now AI is the hot word, the hot topic. Everyone's talking AI, but the next cycle behind AI will be 3D immersive spaces. So, now let's keep moving with the tour. I know the office is beautiful, and again, there's some beautiful views here. Just one quick thing: take note of the furniture in this space because we have custom furniture in this space that again our architects put together, and eventually, hopefully, we can even sell furniture in the metaverse. So let's see what happens and see where it goes. But again, the idea of e-commerce is a very, very big deal when it comes to the metaverse. So we are super excited. We love our office here at Urbander. And again, we are starting to use this as a team resource. So, the dream eventually is drop Zoom, and we're just going to use these type of platforms. So we're super excited about the office space. We love bringing people here to show it off and to see the potential of what this type of space has when you're working with your team collaboratively.
I love it. I
All
just
right.
do love it, and I love how the brand is embedded in everything
Everywhere.
from the furniture to the carpet up on the second floor, which I
Mm-hmm.
know, you've had a chance to see, and so it's just an opportunity, right, to play around a little bit with what storytelling, marketing, and
Mm-hmm.
communication, also aside from collaboration, engagement, and socializing will look like in the very near future.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's just that combination, right, of like the business aspect, the
Yeah.
education aspect is really fascinating.
And we're
Absolutely. And
already
the
doing
potential.
this, and I think that's
Yep.
the thing. Like people are, it's not new and exciting and different, and we're bringing it to another audience. But
Yep.
so many of our children and our people that we know are doing this from a social perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. For us adults, we are digital immigrants. These kids that are digital natives, they've been in these worlds since they've been kids. Fortnite,
Mhm.
Roblox,
Yes.
Minecraft, those are metaverses designed for kids. What we are doing now is using those same 3D worlds now and figuring out how to use it for business, for organization, and for commerce, really. So, why don't
Yeah,
we
it's
take a walk across the way and we can continue the
yeah.
conversation? Let's
Yeah, it's so funny that you mentioned that, Navas, because 2 years ago when you and I first met, and I told my son Pedro, right, who was then he was 15 then, I said, Pedro, I'm going to be working in the metaverse and like, creating spaces. And he just looked at me, he's like, you're so lame. And I'm like, why am I lame? And he's like, because the metaverse has been around forever. What do you think Minecraft and Fortnite is? And I'm like,
Wow.
I know it's been around forever, but now we're going to use it for business. And then he looked at me and I said, you see, I'm not that lame anymore, ain't I? Right? So, anyway, so, so it was
yeah,
pretty cool because that was new for him, you see?
yep,
Like to him, he was like, wait a second, maybe she's onto something. And here we are.
yep. And again, it's funny when we bring adults here, we almost have to give them a little tutorial of what's happening, and how. When we bring kids here, it's natural. It's the same key, same everything as if they were in Roblox or any other thing. So
But
it
I
always
gotta
makes
say,
it
it's pretty user friendly, though. I mean,
totally,
I
the
agree.
totally.
yeah, totally. So where do we go next? Do we go to the
So
auditorium or to the
let's
art
go. Yeah,
gallery?
let's shoot over to the auditorium. And again, while we're passing Gaia here, one of the things
That's Vida Edtech.
Sami wanted to do was to have a representation of the opposite of Atlas, who's usually holding the world. This is Gaia holding the world, which is in the center. And then we have, again, her dream of having the elements as the four corners of this. You can see the fire, the wind, we have water, and then we have earth as
Earth,
well. Yeah,
Earth,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And then
and
we,
it's
yeah.
really like a plaza, in most countries, right? That are
Mm-hmm.
not part of the U.S., right?
Yep.
Mhm.
You have like the center of the town, right, or the plaza, and so that's the kind of look and feel that we were going
Yeah.
for here as well.
And I love
Well,
it.
it
I really
captures
love it.
it.
Yeah,
It
it
does.
really
It
does.
captures it. It gives you
Totally.
that.
Now, welcome to the Urbander Auditorium, and this is definitely a building you see the brand everywhere, embedded on the floor. It is obviously all around the sides with the orange and blue happening, but look at this spot and this space more again for the idea of having guest speakers, the idea of gathering a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of avatars in one place for a presentation, for a showcase. Again, right now we can fit 300, and again, the guys at Frame are testing the limits and going into the thousands, but we can fit a lot of avatars here, and we can pack them deep and teach them cheap, as they say in some places. But and again, one of the biggest uh, critiques that teachers had during the pandemic when it came to Zoom was that the interaction wasn't there, the engagement wasn't there. Well, in these type of worlds, when you have to walk your avatar from place to place, it's engaging just off the bat because of that. But as an educator, if you're setting up activities in different areas in these spaces, kids will constantly be engaged and moving around. So
Yes, and
we
not only that, I'm thinking about the arts, and check this out. It occurs to me that we could have a film festival here, right?
Absolutely.
And run series because we have a screen up in the art gallery on the rooftop, right? And we have this screen over here. We have also in several screens, and so in the studios, right? So technically, we can have, for example, a film festival going on in this campus because it respects distances too. So whatever's going on here, you can't hear it out in the art gallery, right?
Yep.
I'm thinking also karaoke. Wouldn't that be fun, right? To have karaoke.
I
Well,
mean, you
depends
could do
on
so
who's singing.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much you can do in it, and I think that's what the beauty of this is, right? It's introducing people to all the possibilities. And I mean, you just had a little snapshot into what we see, what we hear, what can be done, and it's kind of like looking at a new way of communicating and connecting. So I'm going to ask y'all, what are your biggest hopes for this podcast, and where we go, and what legacy do we leave as we start on this journey together?
For me, it's really demonstrating people to people, right? That number one, there's nothing to fear. Number two, that this is accessible to everybody. Number three, for people in my age group, for sure, that you don't have to be yeah, you don't have to be young, that you can start at any age, right? And then last but not least, that you don't have to be freaking Einstein to get into
Hmm.
technology, right? And so I just feel like there are a lot of myths that we need to debunk about technology and what can be done with technology and how we manage technology, because I think people fear that it's going to manage us. And so I think that Vida Edtech, that's the legacy that we can leave by being the first to have this kind of content produced inside the metaverse to educate about the metaverse.
Totally, totally.
Awesome.
And
What about you, Navas?
why don't we walk towards the media center while we discuss this? Because as far as I'm concerned, with these type of spaces in Vida at Tech, it really is trying to get education to embrace this because education sometimes can lag behind the technology because of a lot of different reasons. But I love
Sure.
the idea that we're bringing it up front, right to the education, letting them know that this is a tool that can be used for teaching and learning. There's actually people who are using these platforms, the metaverse, for teaching and learning, and that's what they're using it for. So I
Right.
just want to expose our teachers, our administrators, um, other companies, businesses to these platforms, and showing them the capabilities and how it really can change the way we do things and collaborate now.
I agree. I think most important is the connectivity and really showing how we might have found another amazing way to better engage our students, our adults, w- on both ends, letting our students sometimes be that expert and teach us while we're helping
Hmm.
to educate them about information that we think that is important for them to know. And the best part about this is just it's just awesome, and there's so much fun in it, and it lets you be whimsical again, whimsical
Totally.
and lighthearted, and in a world that things are so heavy at times.
That Vida
This is a beautiful space that you get to create yourself and reinvent yourself and find some new interests, and make some connections.
Absolutely, absolutely. And welcome to the Urbander Media Center. So, this building, the idea behind this was a place where we can drop our media, whether it's one pagers, videos, audio, anything really, PDFs, full blown presentations. So, on the wall behind me, we have an example. We have one of the Urbander one pagers there. But again, it's the idea that having an entire wall filled with your assets, we can actually click on that asset. You can download it. You can zoom in on it. So again, talk about turning a website into a walking space or a living space. Think about it that way. I know most websites right now, they host and put all their resources and documents there so you can download it. Well, we can do the same right here in the metaverse, and we're looking to create this media center and populate it with a lot of different Latino resources and
Mhm.
help our community with that. Yeah.
Listen, this has been a great launch off. This Thank you, Sammy, for coming in, sharing, telling us a little bit about how we got started. You are not going to be a stranger. We want to have you come back again so we can get deeper in, talk a little bit more about what Urbander is doing. And we want to make sure that we tell other folks, listen, we are for people to come in and share the innovation that they're doing in education, whether that's tech, the arts, humanities. We want to talk about the innovation of connecting culture to learning and making it at the forefront to help our students to see the brilliance within themselves, their
Hmm.
communities, and how we can bring that brilliance to our greater world. So I want to thank Sammy for joining us. Marcos, as always, thank you. Any parting words for you, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead, Sammy.
No, thank you. I'm really excited that we have this to showcase the space. There's so much in this space really to see. We also have an art gallery. There's just a lot, right? And
Yeah,
anything you can imagine is possible. And so I
Yes.
certainly hope that this is not the first visit I make, but I really encourage everyone out there, if you want to be a guest, to just reach out to us, right? You can go on urbander.com, and contact information is there. Or you can also find either one of us through LinkedIn, and just, send us a message, and we're more than accessible and happy to connect.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Navas, anything for you?
No, I mean, we're looking to collaborate. We're looking to bring in a diverse group of people, both innovative, educators, talk about diversity. So, again, if you feel that, this is a show you would love to be a part of, please contact us through the Urbander website, or even the Vida Edtech. We do have our social media handles on IG. We have a YouTube channel as well.
Yep.
We also have the Vida Edtech at gmail.com, so you can email us as well. But again, please feel free, leave us comments, let us know how we can improve this. Let us know what type of guests you would like to see here, what
Yep.
topics you would like to talk about. This is a show for the people. So we want to bring the metaverse to the masses, and show you how it can be a powerful, powerful tool moving forward.
Listen, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this intro. Get ready for the ride. It's going to be a good one. And thank you for joining us here on Vida Ed Tech. We'll see you next time. Everyone,
Vida
peace.
Edtech.
All clear?